on a rainy October night. I had just moved into the old Hawthorne house on the outskirts of Salem. The mansion was enormous, Victorian, abandoned for decades, with its paint peeling and wooden floors groaning under their own weight. The air smelled of damp, dust, and something else, something metallic, like dried blood. I was alone. My job in the city had ended abruptly, leaving me with no choice but to take this cheap rental until I figured out my next step. The house had been on the market forever. I got the keys from a realtor who seemed almost too eager to be rid of it. The first week was strange, but manageable. Odd noises echoed through the hallways, a floorboard creaking, the faint sound of footsteps, whispers that seemed just beyond comprehension. I told myself it was the house settling. But then I found it. It was hidden in the attic, buried beneath decades of dust, inside a wooden trunk covered in cobwebs. At first it seemed harmless, a porcelain doll about 2 feet tall, dressed in a faded Victorian gown. Its hair was black as coal, its eyes glossy and unnervingly alive. Something inside me screamed not to touch it, but curiosity, that human weakness, pushed me forward. The moment my fingers brushed its cold porcelain, a chill ran down my spine. The attic lights flickered violently, and the air felt heavy, almost suffocating. I laughed it off. It's just a doll, just a doll. That night, my first nightmare began. Whispers filled my bedroom, low and sibilant, almost calling my name. I woke up drenched in sweat, and there it was, sitting at the foot of my bed. I had not placed it there. Chapter 1. The First Night. The days that followed were worse than the night before. The doll moved, not slowly, like something falling over, but deliberately, as though it had a will of its own. Sometimes I would leave it in the attic, only to find it in the kitchen, standing on the counter, glassy eyes fixed at me. I tried ignoring it. I told friends about it, but no one believed me. "It's a new house," they said. "Old houses play tricks on your mind." But this wasn't tricks. This was real, too real. The dreams grew worse. I dreamt of children laughing, high-pitched and manic, yet no children lived in that neighborhood. In these dreams, the doll's eyes glowed red, and it whispered my name over and over. Sometimes I would wake to the sound of scratching at the walls, as if someone or something was trying to get out. One morning I found small handprints on the walls, tiny, blackened prints that led from the attic to my bedroom. My heart raced as I traced them, realizing that they were not mine and certainly not human. Chapter 2. Research. Desperate for answers, I went to the town library. I pulled up old newspaper articles about the Hawthorne house. What I discovered made my stomach turn. Over a century ago, the house belonged to the Hawthorne family. A young girl named Eliza had died mysteriously in the attic. The coroner's report was missing. The case was quickly closed. Locals whispered about her doll, a porcelain figure identical to the one I found. They said she was never alone, that something had possessed her favorite toy. I felt a shiver as I read the words, possessed toy, haunted, cursed. Every line seemed to point directly at the doll in my attic. That night, I tried to sleep in the living room. The doll sat at the foot of the stairs, its eyes reflecting the moonlight like tiny black mirrors. I knew, without a doubt, it was waiting for me.
Chapter 3. The escalation. Soon, it wasn't just the doll. Shadows moved in the corners of rooms, fleeting glimpses that disappeared when I looked directly at them. The laughter of children became constant. I could hear it behind walls, above ceilings, even when I was outside. One night, I awoke to the sound of my bedroom door creaking open. A small, cold hand pressed against my shoulder. I bolted upright. The room was empty. But then I noticed it. The doll was lying on my chest. Its tiny lips were open, forming words I couldn't understand. I screamed, throwing it across the room. It didn't break. Porcelain should shatter, but it didn't. And then I saw the writing on the walls. You shouldn't have touched me. The words glowed faintly, as if burned into the paint. My own handwriting? No, it wasn't mine. Chapter 4. Confrontation. By the end of the week, I was a husk of myself. I barely slept. I barely ate. Every corner of the house felt like it was watching me. And the doll, it was everywhere. I decided to confront it. I carried it into the attic, determined to destroy it. I grabbed a hammer, heart pounding, and swung with all my strength. The porcelain cracked, splintering into pieces. But as I recoiled in relief, the shards began to move. Slowly, deliberately, they reassembled. And then I heard it. A voice, not from the doll, but surrounding me, filling the room. Why won't you play with me? Shadows surged from the walls, forming faces. Dozens of them, children, all twisted, eyes hollow. They screamed silently, mouths moving, faces pressed against the darkness. The doll's eyes glowed red, and it floated toward me. I ran. I had no plan. My only goal was to escape. Chapter 5. Escape. I left the house, running through the pouring rain, not looking back. The doll's laughter followed me, echoing through the trees, bouncing off the abandoned buildings, following me home. I burned pieces in my fireplace, convinced this would end it. For one night, it seemed to work. Silence, peace, relief. But then the nightmares returned, the whispers, the shadows, the glowing eyes. And every morning I would find a single black hair on my pillow, or a handprint on my door, or a note. We are still here. We are waiting. I couldn't stay. I couldn't leave. Every home I moved to, every city, every town, the doll followed, always watching, waiting. Chapter 6. The Final Warning. Years later, I sit in a small apartment in the middle of nowhere, trying to write this down, trying to warn anyone who might come across a porcelain doll in a dusty attic. Do not touch it. Do not look into its eyes. Do not listen to its whispers. They are alive. They are aware. They are hungry. And if you ever hear children laughing in an empty house, know this: it isn't children. It's waiting for you.